What is your biggest Uno reverse? My high school teacher, Mrs. Sanderson, said I'd never succeed because I couldn't focus. She'd mock my questions, call me wasted potential, and joke that I'd end up flipping burgers. The whole class would laugh. She wasn't entirely wrong. I did start working at McDonald's after graduation since my grades were awful and no college wanted me. She'd even see me in the drive-thru wearing that red uniform. But while she kept crushing dreams, I was learning how that restaurant ran. I studied inventory systems, scheduling, customer flow, everything. I asked nonstop questions. The franchise owner, Mr. Malik, noticed. While other teens just showed up, I was asking about food costs, labor percentages, and marketing strategies. During slow hours, he started teaching me how the business really worked. After 18 months, I became assistant manager. 2 years later, I saved enough for a franchise down payment. Mr. Malik even co-signed my loan. I poured everything into that first location, working 18-hour days and mastering every detail. Corporate loved my numbers. One store became 2, then 5, then 12 across 3 counties in 6 years. I now employ over 300 people and earn 7 figures a year. The irony wasn't lost on me. Mrs. Sanderson was still teaching the exact same curriculum she'd been using for 20 years while I was building a legitimate business empire one burger at a time. Last spring, severe budget cuts hit our local school district incredibly hard. Veteran teachers were getting laid off left and right, including some who'd been there for decades of service. The local news covered the story extensively, interviewing longtime educators who were suddenly struggling to find any work. That's when my HR manager called with news about an interesting application we'd received for our management training program. "You might want to review this particular resume personally," she said with obvious curiosity in her voice. Guess whose application was sitting right there on my mahogany desk? Mrs. Sanderson herself, carefully listing her 23 years of teaching experience and explaining how her organizational skills and natural leadership abilities would translate perfectly to restaurant management positions. I scheduled the interview for the following Tuesday afternoon at my flagship location, and the one that happened to be clearly visible from the school parking lot, where she still worked part-time as a substitute teacher. She walked through my doors wearing her absolute best interview outfit, clearly nervous but trying her hardest to project professional confidence. When our hostess called her name and pointed toward my corner office, she followed without bothering to look up from her preparation notes. I was sitting behind my desk wearing my best business suit when she finally entered. For several long moments, neither of us spoke a single word. She just stared at me with this expression of complete and utter disbelief. "Michael Jimenez from my 3rd period English class," she whispered. I gestured calmly to the chair across from my desk. "Please have a seat, Mrs. Sanderson. I understand you're interested in our management training program." She sat down very slowly, still trying to process what was happening. "I had absolutely no idea this was your business." I looked down at her resume. 23 years of teaching experience. That's truly impressive dedication. "What made you decide to leave education?" She started stumbling through explanations about budget cuts and wanting new challenges, but I could see recognition growing in her eyes. She was remembering exactly what she used to say about me. "Actually, Mrs. Sanderson," I interrupted gently, "I think we have an opening that would be absolutely perfect for someone with your particular skill set." I stood up and walked around my desk. "Follow me, please." I led her through the busy dining area, past customers and employees, directly toward the kitchen. At the main grill station, I picked up a clean spatula from the prep counter. "You were absolutely right about me," I said, looking directly into her eyes. "This is exactly where I ended up, flipping burgers for a living, just like you predicted." Her face went completely pale as realization dawned. "But here's the one thing you didn't account for in your prophecy. I own every single grill now. 12 restaurants, 300 employees, and counting." I placed the spatula directly in her hands. "Your shift starts Monday morning at 6 a.m. sharp."